welcome to the room transition dialogue skip tutorial. I'm going to be showing off a glitch I found in out there somewhere, which I've decided to call room transition dialogue skip, or RTDS for short. And it's a glitch that allows you to skip the dialogue that appears after picking up collectibles. It's especially useful for collectibles % runs, since the dialogue that appears takes about 2 to 3 seconds before it disappears. So I'll briefly just explain how the skip works, and then I'll show off the 5 places in the game where you can use it. So the glitch works on a basic principle we already use for death warps and save warps. There's essentially a time frame between picking up a collectible and the dialog box appearing, and if we manage to leave the room before the dialog box appears, we'll have skipped it entirely. The way RTDS differs from the save warp and the death warp is that there is no warping included, which means you don't actually get sent to a checkpoint when doing this glitch, which is very useful in the places where we use it, and it can save a lot of time. So this is the first place, Secret Cliff, and the setup here is really the simplest, I think. You shoot at the apex of your jump here like you normally would. Then when you land, and right before your teleport shot hits, you shoot a teleport shot down here, and then it's just a matter of picking up the collectible right before the teleport shot down here hits. An easy setup is just to shoot a teleport shot at the collectible right before the teleport shot underneath you gets to you, and when done correctly it should look something like this. So this is the second place where we can use it, the Gauss gun pickup. The setup here is a bit more difficult, but the timing is really nice actually. So you essentially just shoot the teleport shot like you normally would. Just remember to stand here and not move over here. And then right after that, you jump and you shoot a teleport shot up on the ledge here. And then just as you get teleported, you jump up into the next room. And this one I'm probably not going to get on the first try, so we're just going to cut to footage of me getting it. So here we go. And we got it. So now we're at the third place where we can use this trick. This is the most recent discovery. I found this last night. And it is also by very far the hardest place to do this trick. I would even go as far as to say it's the hardest trick in the entire game. I would not recommend using this over the death warp, which is what we usually do here. I'm gonna see if I can pull it off. I might show off some near misses. I do have a video of me getting it last night, so if there is some silent footage at the end of this, that's what that is. So now we get to the more interesting places where we can use this trick, and the places that are actually useful for collectibles %. So here we are going to use the blue beam over there to leave the room right after picking up this artifact. And I'm going to show off the safe way to do it first, and then I'll show how to pull it off when coming from out of bounds, and I'll talk a bit about the timing and things like that. So for the safe strat for this one, you essentially want to land here, jump as high as you can and shoot the blue beam, then immediately turn around, get into this corner and jump while holding left so that you move into the artifact. When you teleport, you want to shift over to moving right though, so that you can land on the platform over there. If not, you'll just fall down. So when done correctly, it should look something like this. And then you'll land over here. So now for the faster way to do it, that's a bit more difficult. I'll briefly go over my setup before I actually do it. So I jump after the room transition. I jump around here, and then I jump as high as I can while moving right. And then when I transition to the room below, I stop moving to the right, I just fall straight. And then you shoot a teleport shot at the blue beam. It's important to not shoot it too high. If you saw in the easy setup, you don't actually have to get it like at the very edge of the screen. And you don't want to shoot that early because you don't get enough time to go down and pick up the artifact. So you wait a little bit, but obviously not too long. And then the rest of the trick is essentially exactly the same as in the easy setup. You fall into that corner and then you jump into the artifact. While moving left, you immediately switch over to moving to the right, so you land on the platform and continue on. Let's see if we can get it. Yeah, there it is. So one thing I forgot to mention in the previous segment is that when you're coming from out of bounds, since you have a bit more downward momentum than you do in the easy setup, you do have to wait for like a little less than a half a second after landing here before you jump into the artifact. And that's basically just down to practice, I think. So now for the ways in which this trick can go wrong and what to do when it happens. So the first way it can go wrong is you can hit this red beam. It should very rarely happen if you jump like I explained, but if it does happen, you have two options really. You can either try and get out of the way of the artifact, land over here and do the safe setup for the trick, or you can just fall into the artifact and do the normal thing. The second way in which it can go wrong is if you manage to pick up the artifact but you don't leave the room quickly enough, in which case you'll just be up here while the dialogue appears. It's not really that big of a problem, you just wait for the dialogue to disappear and you continue the run as normal. The only thing is you didn't get the skip, so you lost about 2 seconds. The third way in which it can go wrong is if you don't manage to pick up the artifact before teleporting over there. That's by far the worst thing that can happen. And essentially you have two options at that point, or three options really. You can kill the run, obviously, or if you want to try and salvage it, you can just teleport back like I just showed. You can either pick it up normally, or if you still want to go for the skip, you can do the safe setup. So now we're on to the very last place we can use this trick, and it's to get this core underneath the trader. There are two ways to do this. I always use the easy way. There is a bit faster way to do it, but the timing is a bit more difficult. But yeah, I'll show the easy way first. So you want to come up here, you want to teleport over here, turn around, and you teleport, and you wait for essentially right before the shot hits, and then you walk into the collectibles. So it looks like this. And that's how easy it is. Now for the difficult way of doing it, where we cut out the step where we teleport over here. So we do the trick just from the right. So you have to get pretty close to the collectible here, and then you turn to the right, shoot, and then walk into the collectible. And it looks something like this. Now the thing that makes that difficult is you have to immediately stop moving after you touch the collectible, because if you're still moving left, you'll just land on this ledge right here. It's also kind of difficult to do the setup, since you have to essentially walk up, turn around, and you might need to readjust to make sure you're close enough, and then do the trick. I highly recommend to just doing the easy setup, because it isn't that much slower, and it's a lot easier to pull off. So now for the things that can go wrong in here. So there are really only two things that can go wrong. You can touch the collectible but not get the skip, in which case you'll be at the bottom of the screen here while the dialogue shows up, and then when it disappears you'll just drop down and you can continue the run as normal. The other thing that can go wrong is if you don't touch the collectible but drop down like that. This doesn't really lose much time since you're just a jump away, and you can go straight back up and try the trick again. And because of that, I'd recommend going for this trick if you're doing collectibles %, because it's very easy to pull off. It's also very easy to practice because you have the save point down here, and if you remember to put off autosave whenever you reload your save, it won't save when you pick it up, so you can pick it up, then quit out and come back in and the collectible will still be there. Just remember that it resets that setting, and then you can practice it over and over again to get the timing right. That's the end of the video. Hope you found this helpful. If there were any things that were unclear, or if you have any questions about this trick, feel free to contact me and I'll try and answer as best as I can. In any case, thank you for watching and goodbye.